Thank you. I've got to say, I guess Ann and I are the only ones back here who can see Cindy dancing to that music. It was really exciting and fun to watch the energy that went with that. I know how much went into the choir when they were singing that. So welcome home. Welcome, you questioners, seekers of truth with a capital T, pilgrims longing for sanctuary, travelers needing harbor from the storm. Welcome those who are holding on by a thread, determined breakers of the chains of loneliness and isolation. You push through your fear because something told you you deserve to belong. Welcome home. Welcome those who braid ropes again and again. You've been there for our siblings who are just hanging on. You gave them a hand into community and told them they could rest here. Welcome, you who seek spiritual and religious community for your children and grandchildren. You entrust your young people here, and we, as a community, commit to nurture and respect them. Welcome, children and youth. You give us the gift of your wisdom, your joy, your curiosity, and your trust that we will hold all of it safe. Welcome. Welcome home. How do we make this tender place wider? How do we stretch into a bolder welcome, a radical generosity of the heart? Can we imagine ourselves, the stewards and the ushers, not only into this space, but into our circle of belonging? Can we commit and recommit to being accountable to one another as an anti-racist, anti-oppressive community that centers marginalized voices, that listens to those voices, especially what they are saying is hard to hear. Can we be willing to change? When we break our agreements with one another, can we offer amends? Can we be humble and generous? There is grace enough here. There is in this place the possibility of healing, of repair, of making things right within ourselves, between us and with the wider world. This is, in this place, possibility. Welcome home.
Good morning. In this holiday season, may we find the patience to forgive ourselves, to forgive those who do not do as we wish. May we find patience. May we find the wisdom to let be. As you can see, we're all dressed up for the holiday, and we have an Advent wreath this morning. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about the Advent wreath. This was written by Audrey. The lighting of the Advent wreath is a Christian ritual that is part of preparing for the birth of Jesus. The period of time is 4 weeks, therefore the reason for the 4 candles. The colors of the candles are 3 purple and 1 rose. Each candle has a meaning and symbolism as follows. The first candle to be lit is purple, which the color signifies a time of prayer. This candle is called the prophecy candle in remembrance of the prophets, the symbolism of hope. The second purple candle is called the Bethlehem candle, reminder of Mary and Joseph's journey to Bethlehem, and the symbolism is faith. The third candle is pink. It's called the shepherd's candle, and the symbolism is joy for the birth and the midpoint of Advent. The fourth candle is purple, called the angel candle, a reminder of the angel's message, peace on earth, goodwill to everyone. The symbolism is peace. And if you want, on Christmas Eve, we can add a white candle, which is lit symbolizing the celebration of the birth of Jesus. I will now light the first Advent candle. Our opening hymn this morning is number 226, found in your dark hymnal. 226, People Look East. And Anna is going to plunk on the piano for us this morning. So about 20 years ago, this congregation was introduced to the concept of covenant circles. They were small groups of people that met each month to discuss a topic together in a small group of 10 or less people. Covenant circles offered a time of spiritual connection, but in addition, they offered a chance to develop our deep listening skills. David Osberger has said that being heard is so close to being loved that for some people, they are almost indistinguishable. But what does deep listening really mean? Obviously, it does start with listening. Listening is hard, whether we're trying to hear others or our own voice. We often hear, but don't listen. Deep listening is a time to let the words be what matters most, to not think ahead about what you plan to say in response, to not offer your wise advice, to not interrupt, and to let the silence be and not rush in to fill it, to give the words a chance to speak before responding. Parker Palmer explains, our purpose in deep listening is not to teach anyone anything, but to give the inner teacher a chance to teach us. It's now time in our service for our joys and concerns. A beloved ritual of connection observed in some of our Linda Clark will now do a reading via Zoom.
This is Listening with the Heart by Gary Kowalski. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all. Maybe it means just listening. Unplugging the TV, turning off the computer, quieting the mental chatter and distractions. Maybe it means listening to the birds, the insects, the wind in the leaves, the creaking and groaning of the trees. Noticing who else is out there, not far away, but nearby. Sitting so still we can hear our heartbeat, watch our breath, the gentle whoosh of air, the funny noises from our own insides, marveling at the body we take so much for granted. Maybe it means listening to our dreams, paying more attention to what we really want from life, and less attention to all the nagging, scolding voices from our past. Or maybe it's all about listening to each other, not thinking ahead to how we can answer or rebut or parry or advise or admonish, but actually being present with each other. Perhaps if we just sit quietly, we'll overhear a peace whispering through the centuries that's missing from the clamor of the moment. Maybe prayer means listening to the silences between the words, noticing the negativity of space, the vast, undifferentiated, and nameless wonder that underlies it all. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all, but listening with the heart to the angel choirs all around us. Those who have ears, let them hear. We'll now receive your offering in the meeting house, and Rich will put into chat the offering for Zoom guests. The offering this month, for the whole month of November, has been for the community meals of Northborough. Please give generously.
I like this song.
Sing my home. Call me home. Friends, carry me safely over. Lord, take me on my journey. Lord, call me home. When weary and swim, friends, take me over. Oh, in your arms and take me in. Love, call me home. Time ferry me down the river. Friends, carry me safely over. Lord, take me on my journey. Lord, call me home. Take the gift I bring. Friends, carry me home. Deep within me, life is singing. Lord, call me home. Lord, me down the river. Friends, carry me safely over. Lord, take me on my journey. Lord, call me home. Life offers a chance for friends to carry us over. Time, star, or dance, or love, call me home. Dark, beyond the river, friends, carry me safely over. Lord, take me on my journey. Lord, call me home.
Linda's gonna, from Zoom, we're gonna have a chance to do an actual covenant circle here today. So Linda is gonna explain on Zoom how covenant circles work.
So Anne already talked a little bit about how this started about 20 years ago. And when we began, in order to help us with taking turns, we actually used a talking stick because this was really new for us. We met monthly in groups of 6 to 10 with about a 6-month commitment. So this was new and it was a covenant. When we met, we were in a covenantal relationship with each other. So there are 2 groups ongoing still that have met through the whole COVID period. Audrey and Caroline McDonald, other facilitators. And I believe they were on Zoom quite a bit and when possible meet in person. So each session lasts from 1.5 to 2 hours. It begins with a chalice lighting and readings. We have check-ins of 1 to 2 minutes each. No comments, no interruptions. You're welcome to pass if you don't feel like sharing at the moment and sharing later. But we make sure that every person has a chance to be heard. In our covenant circles, the next round of sharing is usually topical with 2 to 3 minutes each, and subsequent rounds of longer intervals. And not until the end is there crosstalk. But there's still no interrupting. Each person takes their turn. So we covenant with each other to keep sharings confidential, participate regularly in the group, and practice deep listening with ourselves as well as with each other. We sometimes have a timekeeper to make sure that all folks have their time to share and be heard amongst all who are present. So just so you know, we hope to offer a new covenant circle starting in January on Zoom. More about that later.
So today in the meeting house, I think we'll divide ourselves into 2 groups. Too small for 3 groups. So we'll divide into 2 on each side. And if you can get a little bit closer, I know the people in the back are there because they want a little bit of distance, but if you can just gather around enough to hear each other, maybe have a timekeeper in each group so that you make sure everybody gets enough time to speak. And once you've formed into your groups, then I'll tell you what the question you'll be talking about is.
We need a breakout room for a Zoom group.
How many do you want?
How many people are on?
Like 10, I think. So 2 groups? Or 3?
2. Because some people have 2 on, you know, so if there are 2 people in a group, so try and do 2 groups, please.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you're in your groups, we're going to allow about 10 minutes for this sharing, and then we'll come back and do a little bit more sharing as a full group. So the question today is, are you trusting or ignoring your gut right now? So give that a little thought, and there's no pressure to speak. If you want to pass, you can pass. But if you're ready to speak, just speak within your circle. Somebody will keep time to make sure that everybody only gets, let's see, we have 6 in a group, a minute or so to speak on the topic without any interruption. And we'll check back in 10 minutes. Are you trusting or ignoring your gut right now?
We didn't actually hear the directions because we went into the breakout rooms. Can they be repeated, the directions?
Yeah, so the question is, are you trusting your gut right now?
Okay, that's it. So we just bring that to the breakout room.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Do you think you could send me back there if you don't mind?
Um, which room were you were in?
I think one, it was with Kathleen and Caroline.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure.
I'm trying to join. For some reason, it's not.
It's not letting you.
No. I'll just send the broadcast out again. Did you get a message?
No.
Hmm. Um.
Oh, maybe if I just join. Okay, I can go back into it. Like I can see it. I can see the join breakout room.
Okay.
Okay.
Try that.
It's just going to be a reflection on, and if you'd like to speak to it, you can come up, certainly come up to the microphone or speak on Zoom. about how was that experience for you? Did you feel heard? What was it like to be in a circle and say something knowing other people were listening deeply to you? You know, was that a new experience for you? So if you want to just think about that for a little bit, if you have something to say to that, come on up to the microphone or raise your hand on Zoom.
I'm Karen. Listening skills were important to my career as a therapist. And when I was in the group, you know, I heard all these things that I wanted to respond to. Not that I would have cut someone off or jumped in or that kind of thing, but I think it then takes you away from, you know, thinking about your gut. So that's something, if I were in a covenant group, that I would have to be aware of.
I'm Chris still. I was just going to say, I had been in the initial covenant groups, a couple of them, and then I was in one of the two groups until just recently that are still ongoing now. And I've got to say, I found them to be so incredibly valuable to getting to meet and know. I've been in covenant groups with an awful lot of you here over the time, but it's allowed me to get to know in a fairly deep level, not a superficial hello Sunday morning, you know, at church type of level. Just listening to everybody, that it's been something really, really enjoyable to me. I have really enjoyed my time in covenant groups.
Anyone on Zoom? I would agree with Chris about being involved in covenant circles. And it's not only for me getting to know the other people in the circle, it's also getting to know myself a little better too. When you have the time to express those thoughts and just let them sit in that silence, it gives them time to speak to you. So I've learned a lot of things about myself in covenant circle too. Okay.
I also am in a covenant circle that is still existing. And I have to say that the what we have done in that group has gotten to know each other much more deeply. And we have just made great connections within that group. And they're precious to me. I think also in the covenant circles that I've been in prior to even to this most recent one, I've never been one to really express my heart. And I seem to be able to, I've been working on that. So it's a little bit easier for me to do that now. And I have to kind of kick myself silently and say, okay, it's your turn. Don't wait to be last. And but I do enjoy them very much.
I'm Donna. I've just been reminded in this process of the idea of just being heard. And there's no pressure to give solutions, suggestions, whatever, which really allows the power of just being heard be underscored. And I just wanted to underscore that.
As a newfie in the church, Covenant Circle, it was just invaluable. And we had met for maybe, I don't even know, 6-7 months or whatever. And to this day, I will be bonded to Pete and David and Chris and Caroline and Lindy. Did I miss anybody, Chris? I was at home and I learned that my son was going into labor. He was not going into, well, he was, but he was helping the person who was going into labor. Anyways, was going, they were off to the hospital. And I thought, oh, I want to, I want to be available. I want to be there. And I thought, should I go to Covenant or not? And I did. And Bowie was born. And to this day, those people around me just were joyful with me. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And it was because for me, I had shared, as you mentioned, yourself, learning about yourself, but also it was realizing how powerful it is to be with people that you value when something so incredible happens. It was very, very special.
Kathleen?
For
do you wanna talk?
final word, I will add that since the church began doing covenant circles 20 years ago, it's been really interesting to watch the spillover of deep listening into our annual meetings and our forums. People sit and listen to each other much more deeply than they used to before covenant circles. They really are learning and honing those skills of deep listening within the covenant circles. I would watch your perspective, which is our newsletter, for the announcement on the upcoming January covenant circle that will be starting. I'd now
think
like to invite,
Kathleen has her hand raised.
okay,
Go ahead.
So sorry for the timing. I would like to say that I have deeply, deeply enjoyed covenant circles. Not only have I fallen in love very much with the people that I shared the space with, but where in our lives do we get to really look at a question like, what is your relationship to what your gut is telling you? Just to stop with the question and really be in a thoughtful conversation with somebody. I really appreciate you putting this together today.
thanks, Kathleen. I'd now like to invite you to stand as you are able for our final hymn, number 410 in the gray hymnal, called Surprised by Joy. It will be, and sing along. May we go forth from this place. May we go forth from this place thankful for the life that sustains and renews us, and open to the grace that surrounds and surprises us. May we go forth from this place with openness and thanksgiving.